G'day Swanee and Kath, I hope you're doing okay over in Australia. We're here building your luxury boat for you. It's a 60-foot wide beam, 60 by 12 that is, just to show that you don't have to be in the country to have a boat built. They have had one visit to us and having a visit at the end, but everything else has been done either via Zoom or phone calls, emails. To be fair, it's gone really smooth. We've had a few little bits where we've had to work a bit harder, try and agree some of the specification and stuff, and but on the whole, it's gone pretty well. I think we're probably about 60% of the way through it, and we thought we'd do a little video just to show the customers what's going on. And it's a bit like Christmas today, Swanee, so I'm going to show you some of your Christmas presents. Why don't we go and have a look? What we got here is the bow thruster. So this is a Vitus product. It's called a Bow Pro 90. It's a good system. It's a brushless motor. You can use it more continually. The old motors, you literally had, 20-second bursts at the most, and if you used it for too long, it'd shut out and then cut off just when you need it mainly. It's there to help you. You don't need to be using your thruster all the time. You've got a joystick control which you can set it to the sort of power output you need. Click a button on the top and it'll actually stay there so you can concentrate on your helm. One of the main focal points on the stern deck is the barbecue stand, so it's all built in. Swanee actually sent this over from Australia because you can't get them in the UK. It's a really nice Weber barbecue, but it's a built-in unit, so it's going to look like it's all really nice and fancy and fits perfect. That's going to look awesome. That's going to really be a focal point on that back stern deck. We've got loads of blue boxes, so that can only be one thing. All our Victron electrical stuff starting to turn up. So we've got an isolation transformer, which is obviously for all our galvanic protection. So not only do we have, our epoxy system, which I'm sure you all know by now is far superior to most, and a great system, but then we're protecting it as well with a proper isolation transformer. We've got a Serbo GX here, so that's basically controlling all the monitoring of all the power. We're going to have solar panels. We've got a generator on this boat, so all the information will be onto a digital screen, so you'll have all your battery capacities and your battery levels. You can use VRM on that as well, so you can monitor it. Swanee will be able to sit in Australia and check out what his boat's doing. Below we've got the Quattro inverter, so that's an inverter charger. The reason we use the Quattro is because the generator's on board, so that has a built-in changeover switch, so we can change over from shore power generator or battery usage, and it's all built into that inverter, so it makes it slightly easier than fitting like we used to years ago with manual changeover switches. So it's all nice, it's all neat, tidy, all expensive equipment coming in now. As I say, we're sort of 50-60% in the build, so now all the sort of expensive bits are coming in to make sure we can carry on the build, and we've got we're aiming for the end of May, early June hopefully for delivery of this boat, so all the stuff's sort of coming in now. We've done a lot of work in the engine room, all the cabling's in, all the plumbing's in, the heater's in, generators in. So then the last sort of big bits to go in is obviously the engine. So now we got the engine delivered. So yeah, this is a Barras Shire 90. Really nice engine, to be fair. Very torquey, a lot of power. You'll be down on the rev range for standard cruising, but if you're in bad conditions or the river's in flood, you've always got that bit in reserve, so you always feel confident and safe. Too many boats out there from my liking that's underpowered. They probably just about work on canals and good conditions, but as soon as the weather turns, like it does in the UK quite often, there's just nothing in reserve. So we do recommend the 90. Not everybody chooses to, depending on the size of the boat and how much they're putting inside. Weight's obviously a big issue, but again, with our chime on our boat, we could put the Barras, the 70 horsepower they do, and it'd probably be fine. But you know, Swanee is going to go over to Europe. I think he's having 12 months in the UK. Then the boat is going to go over to Europe, so he could be doing the bigger rivers and stuff in Europe. So you know, he's chose to go for the bigger engine, which you know I think is very sensible. And if it was my boat, I'd do exactly the same. That's getting ready to go into the boat, so why don't we have a look inside? Right then, as we come into the stern of the boat, we've got a lovely utility area, quite different, but they said they really wanted like a big deep sink, and they've got the washing machine in here. There's going to be some coat hooks so that they could dry all their coats. But when you come into the boat, if you have had a wet, miserable day, you've got somewhere to come in, take your boots off, take your wet weather gear off. A lot of storage as well. You've got a nice shelf there, got a big cupboard space there. Opposite here will be where all the electrics are going. So we're putting a lithium system on this boat. So we've got our lithium batteries going below, and then as normal sort of cupboard above, which will all have switches on, light switches, etc. And then the inverter, galvanic isolator and stuff will be below as well. So we've got plenty of room to get it all in there. As you just seen, that you know most of the components are turning up this week or last week. So once everything's here, we'll set it all out, make sure it's nice and neat and tidy. So yeah, that's going to be our electrical cupboard. And then from there, we're going to walk into the galley. We've got a big American style fridge freezer. So that's nice and big and what they wanted. There's doors to go on the front of that for obvious reasons. We don't want them to get damaged because they were very expensive. So we've not put them on yet. That's a beauty. We've got a pull out larder unit there, which is quite handy and useful. You can get at it nice and simple. Moving into the corner, as they've got the barbecue and they like a lot of alfresco dining and stuff, so you know everybody's different, and that's what I say, we work with the customers to get what they want. So they've just got, I think it's like a simple little 2-burner hob going in there. It's not going to be used a great deal, so you know they was happy with that. So that's it. As long as the customer's happy, then you know that's what's important. They know how they're going to use the boat more than what we do. So, you know, they was happy just to have a small little hob in the corner. Yeah, so moving on, then we got our bin storage. A lot of people don't think about where, you know, you have a lot of rubbish on a boat, especially with the world we live in now. Recycling's very important. So, yeah, they've got a nice recycling bin arrangement that pulls out, so it's nice and easy, simple. So you can put your recycling in there and it all just pops away back into the unit. So it's nice, clean and tidy. So that's a nice little touch. Again, more drawers in there. These customers are more for drawers than cupboard space, to be honest. So these are all drawers. And like I say, everybody uses a boat slightly different, but that's their preference. They wanted drawers throughout, so they've gone for that. So yeah, moving into the saloon area, there's going to be a sofa across the back of that galley unit there. They've got a recessed TV screen, quite a big TV screen there. Then we've got a unit over here, bit of an officey space, so they've got their printer, the Wi-Fi is going to be in there. And then they've got more storage as well. There is a electrical fire going on there, just for a little bit of extra heat. Again, because we've got the lithium, we've got the solar, we've got the generator. With the system we've got in place, and you know, for just the odd evening when it's just a bit nippy and you just want to take the chill off this room, we decided that, you know, an electric fire would be okay as long as he uses it sensibly. But it's nice with this is all built in, recessed into that wall, so the TV is going to look really nice and all flush mounted. Fit out's mainly oak for all the furniture, and then they've gone for a painted look throughout. It's not all been painted, so obviously there's still a lot of painting to do. So once we've got all the main furniture in and finish off the pipe boxing, we'll clean the whole boat out, and then we'll be painting all this again, just to make sure it's all pristine when the customer gets it. But yeah, it's going well. They're granite worktops in the galley, so they'll be coming out to template that. So we haven't got a lot of work to do on those as it's granite. So the galley, once those worktops get dropped in, that'll change the galley look totally, and all the doors. So yeah, it'll come together quite quickly with just the doors and the granite tops. So for this lining, because of damp and moisture and everything that you get from skylights and stuff, we use a product called Tricoya. Probably mentioned it before. It's a type of MDF, but it's guaranteed for 25 years. It's a fantastic product. We've done some tests on it and left it out in the rain and everything, and it doesn't swell up hardly at all. And we'd normally run an oak trim around that, to be fair, but the customer likes that painted look, so it will be like a painted trim like the rest of the boat, so it's all going to just blend in nicely. Yeah, so in this cupboard then, we've got quite a lot in there, so we was looking at different places to put it. A lot of the time we tried to get it all in the wardrobe in the bedroom, but there was quite a lot to fit in, and it takes up wardrobe space. So we discussed it with the customer, and he was happy to have this unit in the corridor because there's not a lot else in the corridor, to be fair. So we thought that was the best use of space rather than taking up space in the wardrobe. So yeah, we've got a seacock because we have got a big waste tank. It's not always possible to pump out over in Europe, and if you're on some of the more tidal waters, it is okay to pump overboard. It's not something we recommend in the UK, but the facility's there if you have to, and the rules and regulations allow you to, so you can actually pump out the tank into, not the canals, but into certain areas of water in Europe. It's also got the pump out as standard, so there's pump out deck fitting, so definitely in the UK he'll be using that all the time, so it'll be pumped out, and where he can, when he's in marinas and stuff in Europe. There's also our shower pump in there as well. Because it's a full wet room, it was quite nice to bring the waste drain from the shower out and put the pump in here, and then it's pumped overboard, which is quite nice and simple, and it's out the way, so it gives you a really nice clean look to the bathroom. We haven't had to have like access panels and stuff in there. It's nice and clean, and I'll show you that in a minute. We've also got a no smell filter here. Like I say, it's quite a big tank, so we've gone for an 1.5-inch version of this. So it's a nice, and that's breathing to outside air as well. So you've got like a charcoal filter in there which filters all the smells, but it's vented to outside, so it helps just get rid of any smells and whiffs. So it's good, but like I say, and it's not really taken up any space out of the boat. It's all nice and easy. It's all accessible. You can see it's like the proper sanitation hose. A lot of our competitors use like the cheap PVC hoses, which they're okay for a couple of years, but then they start to smell, and it's not good. But we don't cut corners on materials. We'd like to use the proper hose. If something does go wrong, or maybe in 20 years you need to change it, you can get at it. It worked out really well, to be fair. We have in the past quite often put them into the wardrobe, but that's not really, it's wasted space under there, so it's worked out well. By the time there's doors on this, it's just going to look like part of the furniture, so it'd be fine. But really easy to maintain and keep on top of. So let's have a look in the bathroom. They wanted it as clinical and clean and just totally uniform, a real nice, just light, airy area. Less is more sometimes, so yeah, nice, just clean panelling. They've got a little recess in there for their shampoos, etc. Because we double skinned this wall, so all our plumbing's in the wall, but obviously you're going to want to shower this way, so our shower controls are there, but it will come up to a head over there. Got a nice drain down there, fully tiled floor. We've even put a membrane down first, so we know it's 100% watertight before we put the tiles down. Naturally, the boat will sit slightly back in the water, so all water should drain this way, which is why we got the drain as close to that bulkhead as we physically could. So it should all work really well. Again, not everybody's cup of tea. There will be a glass screen going so far along here as well. So there is to stop the water obviously going over that side. We've got a nice big unit there. Again, they've gone for drawers. Another smaller unit there, again with drawers. So they've got loads of extra storage. It won't be all bathroom stuff in here, I'm sure. But you may as well utilise that space you've got. And, you know, if you put drawers in, you know, there's nothing stopping you putting anything in there, really. Nice countertop basin and tap. Nice pump out toilet. They haven't gone for towel rails as such. They've gone for just a standard radiator to match the others. And then I should imagine we'll put some sort of chrome rail across the top that you can just drape towels over. Again, all painted. Apart from these, this is proper waterproof paneling down the sides and where the shower and the water is going to be. Then we've got painted deck head, and then like a Korean sort of style countertop, and then painted sides as well. You've got your controls for your toilet there, and that's it for this room. They just wanted it simple, keep it clean, keep it nice and simple. And that again, that's what the customer wanted, so that's what we've done. It's looking nice. Probably the skirted boards and the pipe boxing down there, because it is going to be a damp environment, we'll probably do that in high gloss varnish. So that just repels the water better and just stops it from staining. So probably do that in high gloss. We may do all the timber work in here. I'll have to just speak with the customer and make sure. Fair play to them, they're always quick to reply, or first thing the next day they're back on the email or whatever and reply. So considering they're the other side of the world, I mean, it has gone extremely well, to be fair. So yeah, in the bedroom here, so obviously we have a bed and a lot more drawers again. Like I said, their taste is they'd rather have drawers everywhere than cupboard space mainly. So yeah, we got 2 drawers at the end of the bed. There's 2 drawers either side of the bed as well, and then you've got a chest of drawers here and a chest of drawers there as well. Some nice worktop space as well, and your bedside cabinets, and then a big wardrobe. So we've got some hanging space in this one, just some open shelving for a change in there. We've got an access panel in the plinth for the unit, so we can get the plumbing to the toilet, so you can see the waste pipe there is ready to be connected. We've got our water to the toilet there again, so it's all accessible. So if you've got to have a boat safety or there's any problems with the toilet after 4 years, you know, it has to be surveyed and you've got to have a boat safety. They like to see all these things. We've got a little socket in that cupboard because that's what the customers asked for. It's all good. Plenty of space, plenty of storage. Very light and airy again. Like I say, they've gone for like a painted look all in here as well. When all the oak's in and it's all finished, you know, they do look very nice, and the lightness gives you a feeling of space. We'll sort of show you this when it's all finished, and I'm sure she'll look beautiful. So under here is where we install our bow thruster. So you've got your bow thruster tube in there. There's already a battery tray in there, so the batteries will go in there. There'll be a charging point for that as well. So that those batteries will be individually charged. So whenever you're going out, you don't have to worry that, oh God, is my thruster batteries charged up or not? They'll always be permanently charged up because it's on an independent system. There's an access panel that comes out here as well to give you more access in there. Obviously, it's not something where you're going to go on a daily basis, only if there's a problem. So, you know, we shouldn't really need to go in there that often. But the step comes out and then that panel comes out and you've got plenty of room to get under there. You could put a bit of storage in there as well, you know, if suitcases or boxes of paint or something, you know, there is space in there. Obviously, just got to be a bit careful, make sure it's in boxes. But it is a good bit of usable space. And then obviously we go out here onto our front deck. So this is quite interesting. So we're getting ready for our next paint, which is our finishing primer. So this is our high build primer, so we've got plenty of that on. So we've done, you can see all the welds and stuff, you know, especially in tight areas, joints and stuff. The welds are never 100% smooth, so when paint sits in them, sometimes, you know, it doesn't quite, it can be really difficult because it's not that smooth, for the paint to actually flow out and cover. You can put hundreds of microns of paint and it still looks like it's not covered. There's plenty of paint on there and it's protected, but it doesn't look right. So you can see on a lot of these welds, I've put some 2-pack epoxy filler. So this is proper expensive, like super yacht filler, and we've just put it up the welds, and then we'll sand them back so they're lovely and smooth, and then the paint will stick to that epoxy filler. So it's just making sure that even the welds are well protected. Where we've tacked these box sections in, but again we've put epoxy filler all over, so you're not going to get streams of rust coming from it. To go round miles and miles of welds and fill them all and make sure they're all nice and smooth and sand them off, you know, it does all take time. That's why we're not the quickest boat builder in the world, but what we do try to do is to do it to a very high standard, and I'm sure these videos are helping to show you that it is worth it at the end, you know, when that boat goes out and it's all looking nice and shiny, and you know, it pays dividends really. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Graham and Kathy Swan, aka Swanee, for choosing us to build this boat. They've had many boats before, some very, very high class sailing boats and motorboats. So yeah, for them to choose us to build it shows, you know, that we're obviously doing things right and they trusted us. So I hope we're doing a good enough job for you and you're liking the build. Nice to do a video to show you the progress. I'd like to thank them for choosing Bluewater to build their boat, and like I say, I'm looking forward to seeing them at the end of May. We'd love people to come and see this boat prior to leaving, so whether we have a little open weekend or something after Crick, watch this space, and you know, this boat will be finished around the same time. Hopefully we can do an open day or something to so everybody can come and view this boat before it leaves.